Hello everyone and welcome to the first video on the channel, not counting the unboxing, that is for Dead by Daylight, the board game, and this is going to be part of the viewer verdict video series where you can watch the first one in that playlist to get a rundown of everything that means. But the gist of it is watch the video and then decide for yourself, cast a little bit of judgment on the game being shown, whether or not it's a fit for the channel, and you can say in the comments whether you are for or against it returning as a regular feature. You can go into as much or as little detail as you want, but it gives you a chance to influence the schedule of the channel and things like that. If you aren't familiar with Dead by Daylight, don't worry, I'll do a quick overview of what you're doing here. If you're familiar with the video game on which this is based, it is basically one-to-one, and because this was a game that I think shipped during the tail end of the pandemic, it didn't ship with official solo rules, but because of the time in which it shipped, the player base made some unofficial solo mode rules that we're going to be using today to give a go. It does take away some of the mechanics to simplify having a basic AI to play against. I'll cover the differences as well, but in general the game seems balanced mostly for 3 or 4 people, although up to 5 are accounted for. So the super basic version is we will be playing as a killer of our choice. And in this case I picked the Doctor because that is one of the ones I played back when I played the video game many years ago. So he is all about madness mechanic and electricity, and the goal of whoever you pick to be the killer, there's a lot to choose from, their goal is to sacrifice the 4 survivors. The 4 survivors, who in this case are going to be a basic AI, their goal is to repair generators to power up an exit door that they then have to open and escape before they are killed. In the video game, if you sacrifice someone on a hook a certain number of times, they die, they're gone from the game. In the board game though, it's a little bit different, just to make it that you're not stuck doing nothing if you get instantly killed, for instance. There's a bar, which you can just about see, actually if we pull back a little bit, there's a bar here that kind of tracks sacrifice progress for the killer. Over this side of the board is exit progress for the survivors. They find generators, they fully fix them, you put them here, eventually they open the door, they escape. The first time you hook someone, they have a hook symbol on their card. You take that off, you fill one of these. For every turn, or round rather, in which it ends with at least one person sacrificed, you will gain another token. But if there's multiple people hooked, and we'll see that mechanic as we play, it's fun because you can actually hook the miniatures so they all have holes on their back, you gain tokens from that as well. So it is designed in a way to try and replicate the gameplay of the video game, where it might seem at first like the killer has no chance because the survivors can actually be very efficient with their repairing, but once you start hooking people, you start building up momentum very quickly. So in theory, you should be able to kind of come back at the end. Whether or not that actually happens, I guess we'll see. But that about covers it. We'll look at the killer first, since that's who we're playing as and how they work, because they'll work the same way even if we weren't playing solo. Then we'll cover just what's a little bit different for solo mode. Apologies for the slightly weird angle, but on a 3x3 table this game is actually very difficult to fit it in, so I'm working with what I have. So the stat cards are also a bit over large, but this is what you get when you pick a killer. You get a little bit of a blurb about them, you get their basic passives, you get their active abilities and their unique killer ability. Killers have 5 movement cards. The survivors have the same options for moving around the map, with the exception of they are not allowed to wait. That's a killer only thing. The killer gets 2 turns per round, but only after everybody else is activated, so they have to do their thing first, then you get to have 2 turns back to back. In general, the killer in this game wants to go around and find where hooks are, because you can only kill people by hooking them. Then he wants to hit someone who's already wounded, and you wound someone by smacking them, or in this case the Doctor actually has some ways of doing it at range. So if we just look at his power is called Carter's Spark. You choose a space you're in or a connected space, and each survivor in that space without madness can spend a blood point or gain madness. Now, because we're playing solo, the survivors are not going to be able to generate blood points, but in order to balance it out a little bit based on the killer I've selected, I'm giving them all 1 blood point specifically to counter this ability, just to give them a chance. Which means the first time I try and use it on any of them, they will spend that 1 blood point specifically on ignoring the madness effect. The madness effect is explained over here. It just means that they roll a worse die when they're doing skill checks, and it can also mean that I wound them as well from a distance. These are your passives, just base box passives. The cost to use them is in the top left, which is blood points. The killer starts with 4 of them. He has monitor and abuse, which is free. It just means at the end of a round, if there's no sacrifice survivors, he gains a blood point because he's working towards hurting them. He can spend 2 to overcharge. That's if he breaks a generator that has been getting repaired by the survivors. He can wound people in his space or a connected space. And you can spend 1 on overwhelming presence. When a survivor in your space or a connected space is trying to use an item, and they can find items as they play, he makes them use the harder to use skill die. That's basically it, other than the passive. Survivors with madness roll the danger die for all skill checks. On a failure they lose the madness, and that's about it. All killers in the game have a generic ability where they can spend 4 blood points, which they start with, to have an extra turn, i.e. they go 3 times. Careful use of when to do that, or to hold on and use your abilities instead, is how it kind of balances out how you play as a killer. We'll see if I'm able to do that or not, but that is the basic gist of it. You let the people move, you try and move to them, you hit them up to twice, you put them on a hook, and if they are on a hook, you generate points towards your victory condition. So because we're using the simple AI system made by fans of the game, it doesn't really matter which survivors you pick, because we're going to be ignoring their perks. You could try and use them if you want. Every bit of suggestion I've seen is not to, because it's just too much to keep track of. Might try that in the future, but for now we're just ignoring that. So they are essentially perkless. I've given them 1 blood point just to counter the specific killer, as I just explained, because I feel like it'd be a bit too easy otherwise. And they basically move the same way. They have a deck of cards each, which is right here. Again, every card that the killer had except weight. And they secretly pick one, normally, if you had a human. Then they act, and the killer's 2 actions are already face down. He can't choose once he sees where everyone else has moved, because obviously that would be too powerful. You could easily catch someone, because you're going after they've moved. The way it works for the AI is, you shuffle the deck, they move randomly, you flip the top card, and that's the route they're going to be taking on the map, assuming they can. I'll show you how that works in a second. If you draw one that makes it impossible for them to move from where you are, for the AI, simply draw the next until you find one that they can use. That's how it works for the AI. That's really the only difference. It does mean you're ignoring part of the mechanics, but in order to play solo, that's just to make it easy. And these are the sacrifice tokens that the very first time they're put on a hook, those go towards the victory condition for the killer. This video is sponsored by Noble Knight Games. Check out the video description below for an affiliate link that will take you through to their store, and it will help me out as well. Thanks. So all that really leaves is just an overview of the map. You can probably already tell that the movement cards you play correspond to the connecting points between areas, like for instance the Foundry ground floor and then the Foundry basement. You can get there by playing a blue movement card. There are some areas which are blocked by walls. The killer can walk through these to destroy the wall, but then that leaves it open for survivors to be able to do it. But prior to him doing that, they can't. You'll also notice that there's tokens in each area corresponding to what the game tells you to set up. For the AI, when they move into an area, what you would normally do if it was a human, you move into an area, you pick one of these tokens to flip. For the AI, you always go from left to right, ignoring red if you can, because red is negative. So in this case, say someone moved down here, the first time they got here, they'd flip yellow. Say someone else comes in, oh, red's next, nope. You go to, I don't know if that's blue or purple to be honest, and then you go to, it's blue on here, but that looks purple to me. And then they go to green. And the killer, when he moves, also flips over things. He's going to be wanting to flip the reds, because most of the time those are the hooks, and he needs to have them open to try and kill people. I think that about covers it. Some trips are one way, like for instance going from here to here via a yellow move. If there's an arrow like that, that is a one-way trip. It's like you're jumping down off a high second floor or something, or you're climbing a ladder, or something that you don't go back one way across. Most areas though, like this blue bit, this green bit, you can go from either way. So I think that bit covers it. I hope I didn't go into too much detail there, because it really does play quite basically. Everyone randomizes to where they start. You roll a skill die and it corresponds to symbols on it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's a fail condition, which looks like a face. It's what appears when you die in the video game. Then there's some blanks as well, which lets you pick. A critical success is the 5, I believe, on the die. And a failure is the face I just mentioned that looks like that. The dice are absolutely massive. Don't have them handy, they're across the way, but trust me, you'll see the results on them. They are massively oversized. So I think we're about ready to get started. I'll randomize where the AI is starting, I randomize where I start. and then I'll pick my cards and we'll see what happens, and we'll give this game a fair shot. Oh, one last thing, after I have randomized where everyone is starting, there's how big the dice are. I wasn't kidding, they are huge. Forgot to go over the survivors' names. Again, they are, because you're using AI and they all function the same, it doesn't really matter who they are, but so you know who I'm talking about. The doctor is obviously the killer. He's going to be starting up here in the main entrance because that's where I randomized. This little hunched over lady is Nia. Nia Carlson is her name. Everyone else actually ended up getting the same result on the die. Finally, a game where me rolling terribly is to the detriment of the AI rather than myself. All three of them ended up in the bottom right corner down here, which you can hopefully see if I move a little bit more. So this hobo, who was my go-to character back when I played the video game, that is Jake. Then we have Ace, which is kind of doing the finger guns. And then we have Dwight, which is the meme character from the video game. So they actually all started down in the back lot. Don't ask questions about what they may have been doing. So now we can get into the game with survivors going first. So let's start with Nia first, just because she's up there. Incidentally, if you were playing with other people and people were controlling the survivors, they get to flip over a couple of tokens before the game begins. As far as I can tell, the AI isn't going to get to do that because they are going to just be moving around randomly anyway, so it doesn't provide them any useful information. So Nia will be going first. Oh, and the last thing about the AI is they will always prioritize saving a teammate or healing, in that order, and then escaping. So Nia is moving, I've randomized, is going green. There is a green escape from where she is, so that's what she's doing. She follows the green path, which means she's going from the foundry upper floor to the coal tower upper floor. One upper floor to the next. We'll have to come over here. She's flipping the leftmost symbol, and she has found a generator, which is what she needs. I do have the 3D props for the generators. I have not painted these yet, but I will if people want to see more of this. We'll just put that token to one side. So that is progress towards winning. There's nothing else here for her to interact with yet because she can only flip over one thing, so she's going to immediately try and do some repairs on the generator. Simple, you roll the skill die and see what happens. That is just a bog standard success, which means it is one. I need to get one of these little pins out because it comes with 3D pins as well. One of the 3 progress required to repair the first generator. I can go over there and to destroy that, or at least hinder the progress if I wanted to. And that's her turn done. You do have a deck of cards for each survivor, but I'm just going to shuffle the same deck for each one. So we're going to go down to the other 3 now. I am trying to do what I can to reduce glare. It's a very, very shiny board. I only have one of my studio lights on, but doing what I can. It is still going to be shiny in some locations, unfortunately. Anyway, they cannot go this way for a couple of reasons. One is blocked off, and 2, it's a one-way from the other side. So they can only get out via green or red, because the yellow here is also another drop. We're going to just go from left to right, so we'll go with Jake first. He is going via red, so he is crouching his way from the back lot up to the coal tower. You ignore red, you flip the next one, and that is, what is that? That is a locker, so that gives you a place to hide. There's nothing else for him to do, so he will hide in that locker. It gives you a kind of get out of jail free if the killer happened to come try and kill you that turn. Shuffle their action card, and then we'll go with Ace Visconti, which always sounds like a biscuit to me. He's going green, but he can choose, so I guess in situations like this, it would be down to, I guess you could roll a die, but I'll decide he'll go to the closest route. Finger guns goes in here, flips this over, and he has found one of the escape routes. So can't do anything with it for now, but that's good to know for the future. Nothing else he can do. And then finally, after a quick shuffle, we go to Dwight, the meme. He's going red as well. So he is coming up here with Jake, who's hiding in a locker currently, and also flips over this one. And this one is a second locker. So, locker bros, nothing else for him to do. He's just getting in the locker as well. So now it goes to my turn as the killer. I've already selected my 2 movement cards. As I think I mentioned, you're not allowed to see where everyone ended up, because obviously that would be too powerful. So it is possible I'll go in completely the wrong direction. Let's go see what I picked. So my killer cards I put up here. This is my first turn, and my first turn is green. So I'm going from the main entrance into the center of the map down here. So we can come down here now. And I'm choosing to flip the red because I'm hoping there's a hook, and there is indeed a hook, which means I need to grab a 3D prop. Pardon me for reaching across, but there is a hook there. So that's one of the places I can take survivors who have been wounded. And I don't really have anything else I can do with my turn. I could use my passive. No, they're not connected, so I can't. If they were connected, I could have, to try and drive them mad. So basically my first turn just kind of comes to an end there. And my second turn, which I played, was blue, which is bad news for Ace Visconti, because he also isn't even hiding in a locker. I chose to go blue. I'm walking down here, and hello, Ace Visconti. He's just finger gunning back, and I'm going to choose to attack him. There's no dice roll required. The killer just successfully hits him, and it comes with these wonderful little rings to put around the base of a survivor when they are wounded. So he gets wounded. I think he's allowed to run one space away. I'm going to go double check that now, but that indicates he is now hookable because he has been wounded. No, I thought they got to run away for free, but apparently they do not. It just says put the wounded ring around their base, and that's it. So he's going to have to start running, and that is how a round goes. You then go back to selecting your cards. At this point you could pick to have a bonus turn as the killer by spending the blood points. I'm choosing to just hold on to them. Using your power also counts as your action for the turn, so you can't do that and attack. That's worth mentioning, but your passive is always active. So with that, we'll just go into the second round. It is worth noting that I kind of have Ace screwed over because of where he is and what he can do, so it's very likely I'm going to get him. And that's because he can't escape via the only other route, because there's a wall blocking off unless I go that way and break it first. The only way out of where he's ended up... Oh, actually there's a green there, sorry, so never mind. He could escape via green. But if he goes via blue, which is what I'm predicting, spoilers, I'm just going to be able to instantly hook him. There is a mechanic for if you pick a survivor up and you're not currently near a hook, but we don't need to cover that until it happens. So anyway, we'll go in the same order as last time. So that was Nia first, who's actually up at the top right here. She may just want to fix the generator, but she does have to move. Although if she draws a movement card where she wouldn't normally be able to, I guess you could say, this is up to you, that she just stays. But I think if you get stuck, you're not allowed to interact on your turn. So she goes back green, which means she's going to flip this over. It's going to be a generator. Yep. Because there's like 8 of them. So there is a second generator right here. She is doing all the work. And does she repair it? She got a fail, which means she, not only does she not repair it, but you get a blood point, is my understanding, every time that result is rolled by a survivor. So that is the Doctor up to 5, and no progress on finishing that. So then we move on to... Who did we do next? It was Jake next, I think. We'll just do it in the order from top to bottom. So Jake and Dwight, and then finally Ace, who might be in trouble. So Jake is moving blue. Can he move blue? Yes, he can. He can leave his locker, he can go up here, and he can try and fix that generator. And that is a critical success, which means he gets 2 progress towards fixing it, and that means that generator is fully repaired. So I was going to put more pegs in it, but I guess it doesn't really matter. That is 1 generator fully done already towards the 4 they need to do to open up the exit. The exit itself you also need 3 successes, I think, to open. But they've made early progress thanks to random chance of getting that crit. So next is Dwight, to the bottom right of your screen, barely fitting. He's going to move. He's vaulting. He cannot. There's a wall, so we'll just draw the next card. He's going green. There's no green either. He can't go green. He's going blue, so he is going up here. And oh, he didn't flip over a thing when he arrived, sorry. So that was a locker. And then Dwight, he just copies everything Jake does. That is an item, so there's nothing else for him to do up there. So he is just going to interact and take the item. I'm just going to draw the top card of the deck. He's found a commodious toolbox. Discard this during any survivor's turn to add a progress to a generator in your space, then draw an item. That seems very, very powerful, and this item goes away. Now comes the danger one. We go down here, and it is Ace, who is desperately wanting to not be there, because otherwise I'm going to kill him. So, shuffling the deck, and he is moving, vaulting, nope, next in line, green, yes, and oh, that means he's going to live. I didn't notice that there was a green escape, so I didn't plan for that. So he did get away, and he is going to flip over this. It's another generator right here, and he's going to try and do some repairs on that. And he failed. That's 1 blood point to me. Thank you for that, Ace. And now it's over to my turns. So unfortunately, my first movement, because I thought it was the only way Ace could go, was blue. So I am going back up here where the hook was. It would have been perfect, but sadly not. I'm going to flip over one of these green ones, and that is a pallet. I actually don't know what the killer does if it draws a pallet. I'm going to have to double check that. It usually just means you can block away where then only survivors can go, and then a killer has to burn an action to destroy. I'll look into that in a second. There isn't really anything else for me to do. There's nobody in connected tiles, so I just end my turn there. Actually no, there is a person in a connected tile. Nia's in a connected tile. Okay, actually, for my ability then, choose your space or a connected space. Each survivor in that space without madness either spends a blood point or gains madness. Survivors who already have madness either spend blood or become wounded. Well, I'm going to use Carter's Spark on her, but as I said at the top, I've given everybody 1 blood point to counter it just because it seemed a bit OP otherwise. So she's now countered the madness. If you play the video games, he like jump scares you with his face flashing up on the screen and stuff. It's pretty fun. That's that turn. Second turn, I chose to go yellow, which is completely wrong. Oh, you know what? I didn't realise yellow is a one-way, so I couldn't even have done that anyway, so I've accidentally wasted my other turn, which means I'm not even allowed to do anything. So I've actually just thrown that away. So we roll round to another round then. I'm going to go double check what happens with that pallet since I revealed it, not a survivor, and we start over. With regards to revealing the pallet that in the video game the survivors drop to block off areas, as far as I can tell you don't do anything with it if you reveal it as the killer, but if a survivor walks into here and there's nothing else they want to interact with, they can interact with that, and then they could block off a path. They can still freely move, but then the killer has to waste a turn smashing it to make it go away forever. So they just know that's a resource there they can use. It doesn't even need to be used, as far as I can tell, on a connected room. It just needs to be put on a path somewhere. Alright, time for a new round. I don't think I'm doing very well so far, but it could all swing round. We're going to go with Nia first for the AI. I'm just shuffling their deck, and then they are going to go here, assuming they can. They're going green. They're going to go talk to their fellow survivors over here and flip over the last object here, which is a pallet, and it would make the most sense. I guess you would just do it to the detriment of the killer as best you can. I guess they would maybe put it here. Actually, you know what, let's assume that it's a connected area. That makes more sense to me. I'm not sure if that's 100% what you're supposed to do. It makes much more sense. It would come down at where you find it. So that's going to block that off, which would make it harder for me to get over there. Then we'll go with Jake. There's nothing else for Nia to do. Actually, she could totally interact with the locker and hide in there. That means no one else can hide in there this turn. So Jake is going to go green. That's fine. Survivors are allowed to go over pallets unhindered. He has to flip something over though. He goes from left to right as per the rules for AI. He's going to hide in the locker because that's... Oh, actually no. He prioritizes trying to win. He will not hide in the locker. He will fix the generator, or try to at least. That is a normal success. So that's one towards them fixing that generator. Right there. And that's his turn. Done. So next it'll be Dwight. And then finally the one in most danger, which is Ace. Dwight is going blue. He's sauntering down. I like the picture for the blue movement. He's sauntering down here to the coal tower ground floor, and he has to flip over a green. And that is a... what is that? Oh, it's a crow. They usually give away your position. I can't remember what they do offhand, so let's find out on the fly. In the video game they give you away if you're not moving slow. Let's see. The crow. The killer gains a blood point and you take a survivor bonus turn if he interacts with the crow. Well, he might as well then, so that's 1 blood point to me. The crow goes away and he gets to go again. We'll just do it right now. Quick shuffle. Probably wants to get away to the other half of the map because only bad things can get flipped over there now. He's going to go yellow. Can't go yellow, it's blocked off. Go the next. Red. He's back down with Ace. He doesn't have any means by which to heal Ace in the bottom right corner, who we'll be going to after this. He can, however, try and fix the generator. And he got a critical success. Why did I only roll badly against myself? So that's 2 towards the 3 repairing that generator. So 1 more and that gen is done. Done and done. There we go. I need to get down there to break that. Thankfully Ace can't just stand there. I guess that's why that's the rule in the game. At least as is my understanding. So Ace is going red. He's going up here, there's nothing else better for him to do, so he will hide in a locker. So I think in an effort to try and murder someone, I'm probably going to take an extra turn, and like strategic use of your extra turns is how you get an edge as the killer, is my understanding. But my first turn that I put down is blue movement. So I'll be moving blue, and unfortunately for Jake, that means I say hello. I also get to flip over something, and that is a skull totem. I can break that for blood points, or something like that anyway. They can break it as well to get some kind of benefit as well. So, poor old Jake, I don't need to roll anything, I don't need to do anything, I just say I am interacting with Jake, which means clocking him over the head with the electrical baton that the Doctor is equipped with, and that wounds him. Now, a turn in which you wound a survivor, you are not allowed to hook them. So even if I was to chase him down with a bonus turn, because it's the turn I wounded him, I can't do that this turn, unfortunately. So, my next turn is green path, which unfortunately was palleted, so I destroyed the pallet instead of doing anything else. But, well, hang on, do I want to take a third turn now? Because you can only play a movement card you haven't played yet, which means I can either wait or play yellow or red. Yellow would send me over here, which seems a bit pointless. Red would put me to where Ace is. Yes, I'm sending on a bonus turn. That is 4 of my 7 blood points. I'm taking a bonus turn. I don't really need to look at the card, but I said what I was doing. I'm playing red, which means I'm going down here, all the way down here, to say, hello, Mr. A. Oh wait, he's hiding in a locker. I don't think I can grab him. I'll need to read how that works. Alright, here's the page. The killer may only interact with an occupied locker. An empty locker cannot be interacted with. The survivor on the locker performs a skill check. On a failure, they are picked up even if they aren't wounded. On a success, the locker is removed. Well, removing the locker would be great. Picking him up would be even better. That is a success, unfortunately, so he busts out of the locker at the last second like you can in the video game. The killer busts the locker. I don't think you can break the lockers in the video game, but whatever. It's just so they can't keep doing it. And Ace, the lucky so-and-so, gets to live for another turn. Alright, we've got ourselves a new round. We're going to start with Jake, just because we're going to go in kind of clockwise order. So Jake is going red. That would take him towards me, which is not a good idea. But I guess we'll do what the AI says. He has to flip over a red one as well. Although honestly, I think I need something like this to happen because I'm not doing so well. We still only know where one hook is, and you can't hook multiple people on the same hook. There is another locker here, so he's gonna hide in the locker and just let Ace kind of handle himself. So we'll have to try and remember Jake is hiding in the locker. We'll go for Nia next. She's up where there's basically nothing to do in the coal tower upper floor within a locker. She's gonna go yellow. She can. She's gonna take a flying leap actually. Whoop! It's like snakes and ladders. All the way down, just out of shot. Hang on. Down here with Ace. And she's going to try and fix that generator, and if she succeeds, I can't do anything about it. And I was planning on doing something about it, so this would be awful. Oh, not only does she repair it, she gets a critical success. So, just take those out because I can reuse them. That is their second generator fixed of the 4 they need to open up the exit. That is catastrophic news for me. Let's go with Ace Visconti next, who really needs to run away and hope that I haven't predicted where he ends up. So let's see. Well, as it turns out, I'm pretty bad at predicting. Oh, and he's going red. He is running down here. He'll reveal this blue is a locker. It is a locker. So you know what Ace is going to do? He's going to do the old classic, and he's going to hide in it. And then that just leaves Dwight, who can only really escape from where he is by red or green. Yeah, there's no other way. He's going red. Well, unfortunately for Dwight, he has gone back where I am, although I won't necessarily be able to do anything to him because I can't attack before moving. It does mean he has to interact with the blood totem. So let me just see what happens when a survivor interacts with that. See what happens. Oh, he doesn't have to, but what else is he going to do? Survivor interaction. Hex totem, that's what they're called. Cleanse. Perform a skill check. On a success, remove the token and gain blood points. AI doesn't generate blood points, but if he removes it, that means I can't tamper with it to get blood points. It was a success, so it's gone, and now it's over to me. So let's see what I predicted. My first action was red. Now that is both good and bad. So I'm going down here, and I could try and get Ace out of the locker, or I could wound Nia. Those are my choices. Or I could maybe do my ability, Curse, Spark, choose your space or connected space. No, not that one. Oh, I've been forgetting about his monitor and abuse. I should have a few extra blood points. Oh well. After you damage generator, nope. I was hoping to maybe electrocute multiple people. I think it's probably worth just hitting Nia. We're just going to smack Nia, make her wounded as well. Sooner or later, I swear to you, I will get one of these people on a hook. So Nia is going to get wounded. There, that's a better view. And that's my turn. So then we go... Oh, there's still stuff to flip over here. I totally forgot. There's a hook. Bad news for you people. There is a hook down there. That's good to know. Alright, and then my second turn, I've honestly forgotten what I selected. I think it was green. It was indeed green. So, I'm going to choose to go over here in the hopes that there's a hook here. Because there's two green paths I could take. Is this a hook at the exit? It is. Okay, that's also very good. So there is a hook I could take advantage of here. Oops. The props make it a little bit harder to cover everything. And technically I should have enough blood points to take a third turn, but there's no way for me to get back to where they are, so I'm quite happy to end that there. Alright, I've picked my movement cards. New round, we're going to go with Jake first, who's hiding in the locker in the military green shirt. He wants to go red, which is exactly where he needs to be, because that puts him next to a generator. So, and unfortunately for me, he got a crit, which means that 2 gets fixed and it is fully repaired. One more generator, which they, to be fair, they haven't found yet, and the AI has to get out of this bottom right corner if they want to find it. They still need to find that generator, but they only need one more and then the exit can be opened, which is not good for me considering I've been wounding them, but I ain't been killing them. So, we'll go with Dwight next. And he is going to go red as well. Oh, and Jake didn't flip this over. It's a pallet. He might as well block off where he thinks the killer will come from, which is right there, because that's the only way I could get to him. Sorry, we'll move up a little bit. There we go. So there's now a pallet behind this hook there. And when Dwight goes here, there's nothing for him to examine, so he'll hide in the locker. The only one who isn't wounded, and he is hiding. But that's okay. So that's those 2 done. So now we need to move again down here to the bottom right corner. We'll go with Nia first. The one not hiding in a locker. She is going blue. No, she's not. There's no blue. She is going green. Now she can pick to go where I am, or she can pick to go the other way. I think she'd probably pick... Oh, it's not sticking to her base. She'll go the route that doesn't result in insta-death, and she'll flip over this. It's an item, so she gets an item. Skeleton key. Discard this at any time to allow any survivor to reroll any die or gain 3 blood points. Well, we'll just use that for the reroll. It's handy for them. Oh, sorry, shouldn't have done that because there's a yellow that hasn't been revealed here. And it is a generator, so never mind, I'll take that key back. Forgot that hadn't been revealed. And unfortunately, she has found one of the final generators. There is more than just that one. But she has found it, and she is going to then try and interact with it. Does this die only roll crits? There is only the one on it. Yep, there is. I just keep rolling it because dice hate me. Alright, well that's 2 towards fixing it. I can't lose without at least sacrificing one person. That would be very embarrassing. And then that just leaves good old Ace Visconti barely visible in the bottom right of your screen. I won't bother moving the camera because he's obviously not staying there, he's going somewhere else. He is going blue. No, he's not. There's no blue out of there. He's going... Nope, can't go that either. It has to be red or green. He's going red. Out one locker and immediately into another. He's just locker surfing. and I definitely have picked the wrong choice for what I'm doing with my turns. So unfortunately for me, I once again forgot there's 2 greens out of there. So for my first turn, I actually selected wait, which means I'm allowed to stay where I was and then can do a thing. Normally if you pick an action which results in you having to stay still, you get denied your ability to interact. This is the one exception. But there's nothing really I can do. I can't even use my Carter's Spark passive because Nia's already wounded and it doesn't take you down. So there's no point. I need to get up there, unfortunately. And that does not bode well because I just end that turn and then I do my next turn. Did I pick blue? You better believe I didn't. I picked green. I absolutely should have picked blue, especially now I know there's a generator there. So I picked green. I have to come down here to the back lot where there's one last thing to flip over. It is a crow. Actually, what does the killer get to do for a crow? Because in the video game, the crows are a killer benefit. Remove the crow to gain blood. Sure, why not? Because there's no point hitting Ace with the Carter Spark because he's already wounded as well. So sure, I'll remove that. Now the real question is, should I take an extra turn? Because I have enough blood points. In fact, I'll just take away 3 because I was gaining 1 there. And I will take a bonus turn because that means I can get Ace and we can at least finally show off the killing mechanics. Because I haven't played my red card, I played wait and I played green. I'll play my red card for my bonus turn and say, hello Ace Visconti. Wait, he's in a locker still. I forgot. He's still in a bleeping locker. I'll get him this time. I'll get him. He won't escape. He escaped. Oh, you're running out of lockers to hide in, old man. Oh, I forgot he was in a locker. What a waste. Okay, well, that's the round. Well, this is going from bad to worse, but they still need to escape even if they do finish the generator. We're going to go with Jake again first up here. He is going blue. There is a pallet. Oh no. He's been consistently rolling crits. Not this time. Oh wait, but only had 1 needed. So that does mean that the final generator, my plan was to go up there and short it and then hurt everybody nearby. That means that they can now try to escape. I need to double check if you need 2 successes to escape or is it 3? Let's see here. Let's see. Interact with the exit. I presume it's going to be... Yep. Once the 4 generators are completed, the exit gates are powered up. Survivors can only interact with exit gates once they are powered up. Okay. If the exit gates are powered up, perform a skill check. On a success, add 1 progress. With 3 progress, the exit gate opens and the survivors win the game. Arg. And I guess if we're going by the AI would do logical things rule, they're obviously going to prioritize trying to get down to the exit, which is down here, and try and repair it. But that was Jake's turn, so he doesn't get a choice. He couldn't have known, or rather the AI couldn't have known that was definitely going to be a success, so we'll still randomize Nia's turn, because otherwise we're using knowledge we shouldn't have had at the point at which she would pick a route to go. But from the next turn onwards, they will prioritize getting to that exit. So she picked yellow, can't go yellow. Red, yes, can go red. Finally down to a part of the map we haven't seen yet. Down here, it's just weird the way randomization works out. What was over here? Oh no, there's an exit there as well. There is 2 exits in the video game. There's an exit there as well. She's going to interact with the exit. She failed. Okay, so 1 blood point for me. I did remember the 1 blood point for nobody being hooked at the end of the last couple turns, by the way. But that is another location they can try and get to get out. So that's unfortunate. So next we'll do Dwight, who is up by himself. Top of the screen there. He is going to move blue over the pallet. He'll flip this. It's an item, but he's actually going to choose to interact with the pallet just to make it more difficult for me. Because, again, if you're doing the AI controls, just do what's worst for you, and you'll probably have a more realistic time. Finally, Ace, who is in danger, unless he goes somewhere which has a locker, in which case he'll probably live again. He is surrounded by 3 tiles that all still have 1 locker. He's going green. No, he's not. There's no green from where he is. He's going red. Oh, there is a locker. Goes up here. There's nothing to interact with. He hides in the bleeping locker. And then it's over to my turns. Once again, I was trying to be smart. Here's where I am. And my first activation I chose was yellow. Which means, Kool-Aid guy style. Oh, actually, I still can do something here. I can finally sacrifice someone. I smash through this wall. Now it's available to everybody, including survivors. And I say, hello, new friends. I have to flip this over because it's not being flipped. It's a burb. But, more importantly, just so we can actually see the mechanic being used, I am attacking Jake, who is not in a locker, which means he is sacrificed. So we hook him on the hook, thusly. There we go. Right there. And from his card, I take the sacrifice token, and that is the first of 8 for the killer to win. Is it 8, 2, 4, 6? Yeah, 8. I did a thing. It's not a complete wash. What was my other action? Anyway, I've forgotten. With hindsight, absolutely should have waited. I picked green, unfortunately, which there is... Oh, actually, there's 2 routes. I could go up there, or I could break that pallet. And I kind of want to stay here because they're going to try and rescue him. So I'll break the pallet, which forces me to stay there, and just kind of ends my turn. Oh, and at the end of the turn, because there is a survivor on a hook, at least is my understanding, it would proc, so I actually get a second token. If there was 3 survivors hooked at the end of a turn, you would get 3 tokens. So that's how it can quickly spiral if you start getting people on hooks as the killer, which is why you have to make the AI prioritize saving. Alright, I've made my decisions, and that means it's now back round to the AI, but as I said at the top, they prioritize escaping and healing, or generators, but now it's escape. And healing when they can, or rather saving as well, because otherwise the killer can just easily win if you rely on random to bring them back to where there's a survivor to save. Dwight can't do it because he has to move, but he is doing a set thing because he can try and escape, so he's going to come down blue and try and work on that door. And he got 1 success. I'm just going to have to put the pips next to it because there's no 3D doors. So there's one of the 3 pips on that exit. Ace is definitely going to come down here and save Jake, even though it's probably going to be to his detriment, but that's what Ace deserves. So no randomization, he would jump over the pallet, come down here. Actually, I think when you save somebody, you're each allowed to move 1 square. I'll double check that in a second. Let's do Nia's turn first. Nia is the only one who's doing a randomization turn, because she's not allowed to stay where she is. So, oh, she goes red. That would put her back there. Let's say the red would not be something she picks, because that's obviously stupid. She would go blue. She'll come over here, flip this, it's a generator. Don't need to care about it because the exit doors are open for them. Right, yeah, I'll go double check. I'm pretty sure when somebody saves someone, which Ace just did, they both get to move 1 hex. Or one area. Yep, that is correct. When you rescue someone, you get to move a space, and so do they, so the killer can just immediately put you back on, which means I've made a horrendous mistake, because I forgot until just now that was a thing. So it makes the most sense that they would both go after various exits. Doesn't really matter who goes where, because they're both still able to get put on a hook instantly. So Ace is going to run down here, and Jake is going to run down here. Jake doesn't get a turn this round because he was on a hook. He just gets that free movement. Nia's already moved, and Dwight's already gone, so it's over to my turns. And unfortunately for me, I selected wait because I forgot that they get the free movement. But for I still get to do an action, so I'm going to use Carter's Spark and use it on Dwight, or do I use it on everybody in the tile actually? Choose your space or a connected space each survivor. Yeah, but Jake's already wounded. Unfortunately, Dwight still has his protection I decided to give them, but with hindsight they did not need the help, but whatever. So that at least makes him use up that, and then for my other turn I selected to go red, and that is bad for Ace because I have chased him down and I'm going to interact with him. I'll flip over this as well. It's not a hook, unfortunately. So when you grab a survivor in a space that does not have a hook, you find the closest hook, you select it, and then you roll a number of dice equal to the number of spaces away it is, and if you ever roll the face, the survivor is able to wriggle away. Not in this case. So we come over here with Ace, we stab him, Texas Chainsaw style, we hang him, and we get his sacrifice token because he still had 1 on his card. So that's a 3, that's not bad. That's the end of the... Oh yeah, you move automatically, by the way. You don't play a movement card for the movement to a hook. That's just part of the mechanic. That's the end of the round for me, which also means we have 1 hook survivor at the end of the round. So that's another token. So we're actually all of a sudden halfway towards a win, but they just need to interact a couple of times and they win. So we'll see. So as we begin the next turn, I totally forgot Dwight had this commodious toolbox which lets them add another progress. It does only specify a generator though. It doesn't say the escape door, so I don't think it matters. So we're just going to ignore it because it doesn't specify escape door, it just says gen. But anyway, there is some set movements that we're going to do because again there is a survivor hooked. They prioritise trying to save and they can't linger where they are anyway. Nia though is definitely going to come down here because it makes the most sense to try and bust open this door while everyone else is distracted. And she gets a single success on that of the 3 required to open up that door. And in terms of who out of these two goes to try and rescue Ace, it doesn't really matter because there's only one way out of where they are. The one benefit for me not having broken this bit as the killer is they can only escape to the air. So they're kind of stuck in a kind of endless loop of me sacrificing people. So if they don't open those doors soon, I'm just going to be able to kill them or get enough sacrifice tokens at the end of turns. If they don't get out in 4 turns, chances are I'll win. So Jake is going to come up here, interact with Ace to save him. Then they choose a location to run away to. And one of them is going to run this way and one of them is going to run this way to try and separate out a little bit. Again, the priority now is for them to escape. Dwight though, he can't stay where he is and he can only get out of where he is with a blue movement because there's literally no other way. So unfortunately for him, he is coming through here face to face with the doctor and he's going to loot. I don't know if you're only allowed to hold one item in the board game, but he also found a skeleton key. Totally forgot about those. So he has that, and then it's over to my turns. I did finally correctly predict what to do. No, I didn't. I thought I picked wait for my first turn, but I didn't. Never mind, I picked blue, which is not good, because that means I'm going to go down here. What I can do, though, is use Karthus Spark for my turn. It's just my power, it's free. Dwight's already expended his defense against madness, so it affects him and wounds him because he's already spent his blood point to defend against it. So I kind of did what I wanted to do anyway. Problem is though, I can't immediately just walk back blue. Oh, I need to flip something here as well. I just realized you can't see me. There's an item box down here where there's a hook, but that's okay. And my other card for movement was to wait, because I would just want to go right back to where I was. As far as I'm aware, you can't damage the exit door to take away progress. In the video game, you can only damage generators as the killer, so I presume that applies here as well. So not much of a round for me, but that's it. So again, apologies for how much glare there is down here. You can guess where my studio light is. But there is some set moves that we have to do here because we could just instantly lose depending on how well Dwight breaks open a door. He is going to try and escape from this door because it means he's not in danger, because the killer is elsewhere next to the other door. If he gets a crit success, they open it. He did not, so we do still have a game. That is 2 out of the 3 towards getting out though. Ace would want to try and work his way towards here. So he's going to come down this way, flip this. It's a bird. Nia and Jake though, they could randomize because really they're just kind of going around in a circle to loop back around to one of the exit doors, so we can leave that up to random chance. So I'll draw a card for Nia. She's going blue, so she's coming up here. Flip this. 2 birds. And then finally, Jake. Yellow. There is no yellow. Red. He's in the danger zone, because I think I'm going back up there. Bit of a weird angle from here, but it means the glare isn't nearly as bad. My first card I picked was a blue action, which means I can come right back here and say hello again, Jake. Right back on the hook you go. Now, because I've already had the sacrifice token off his card, you don't immediately get another one. I will get one at the end of the turn, however, and that's how you still keep on building up progress, even if you're sacrificing someone you've already sacrificed. Ideally, Dwight or Nia would have been better picks because they haven't had their ones taken off their card yet, but what can you do? So that was my interact. My second path was, it's red. I have to flip something. I will flip an item chest and say, oh, hello, Dwight. Now, unfortunately, where would I have to go to get a hook? The fastest route to get a hook is 1, 2. So I'm going to have to try and carry him 2 squares. Let's see if I can do it. Yes, I can. Wait. I can't remember if I need the face or if I need the crit. Because it's technically them rolling, so I think maybe the crit is the thing they're looking for to escape. Let's see. Where was the bit about moving with a killer? Let's see. up to 4 spaces away and forcibly carries the survivor to roll that. Oh yeah, the survivor rolls that many skill dice. Check. If any of these dice show great success, the survivor escapes and is put down in their space. If none of them do, the killer can move 1 space for each die rolled. Unfortunately, that's a crit, so he tries to pick up Dwight, and then Dwight is just so sweaty and slippery and pathetic, slips right out of his hand, and I can't do anything else. Oh, before we move on though to me inevitably losing, I think, I'm not sure I can stop it this time. I do get 1 token for Jake being on the hook, which means I needed 3 more to win. So unless there's some categorically terrible rolls here on the survivor's behalf, I can't win, because Nia and Ace would both... I don't know why her base isn't sticking to that. Would both come down here, despite the killer being here, preoccupied with Dwight, to both try and interact with the door, because as long as one of them succeeds, this door opens, they win by default. So Nia's interaction, yep, there it is. Just out of curiosity, Ace would have failed actually, so not as cut and dry as I was expecting, but Nia does get the 3rd success required. This exit door opens, and very much like the video game, they taunt the killer on their way out until the killer is there at the last second, and then they flee. Dwight flees. Technically Jake dies. Like in the video game, that would be a Pyrrhic victory, I think, for the survivors, if you let one of your own die and you don't all get out. If you all get out, it's a decisive victory, I think. So technically it's not a full victory. The doctor's just going to go back and do what the killer does once everybody's escaped. I assume this hasn't changed in the years since I last played the video game. They stare at the person on the hook, occasionally whapping them. So that did not go how I expected. I thought I'd have to make lots of little tweaks to make it easier for the surviving AI because they're moving randomly. Obviously it's a sample size of 1, so they did just kind of get lucky with the way they were moving. I mispredicted a couple of times because I forgot mechanics. But the AI did very well there. It didn't help that I kept on rolling critical successes for skill checks for them, obviously. And that Ace kept hiding in lockers. But that does show the general flow of the solo mode for the game. The AI is very kind of personality-less, although I will say the default perks for characters are very, very situational, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference to ignore them, in my opinion. Like for instance, Jake has one where when you or another survivor is in a space or a connected space rolls a failure, you can treat it as a success by using one of his blood points, but the killer gains that 1 blood point. Or he can cam birds. As an interaction, you can move a crow in your space to another space on the board. It's like, that's not super important. It comes down to what it comes down to in the video game. Find the generators, repair them before you all get stuck on hooks. I'm not sure I would give them the defense that I gave them this time of having 1 blood point specifically to defend against my Carter's Spark Power with hindsight. So if we do another one, I think I'd try it without that and see if I can more easily kill them. Although, like I thought from the brief bit of research I did before trying the game, once the killer starts gaining speed, it's very hard to stop the momentum. That's why it's so difficult at first. Like once you start hooking people and that kind of gameplay loop starts, it's hard not to stop him. Even if you were playing with other people and they were picking the routes to go, it's still hard, especially because we kind of got lucky as the killer, even though we did lose, that both exits were around hooks I was using. Like we didn't touch the top left of the board at all. There would be generators up here obviously because there's only ever 2 exits, but was there hooks? There was a hook right next door as well. There's probably a hook down here. Nope, actually that's another totem. So that means what, there's 4 hooks? Yeah, 4 hooks and 6 gens on the map. So that makes sense, I guess, 1 hook per person. So we didn't really need to drag anybody too far away. We kind of just happened. I think playing on this particular map as well and having 2 routes, like both these routes down here, which I know you can't quite see, the green route and the yellow route, like green route to here, pardon me, yellow route to the bottom right, having those blocked off for the survivors doesn't give them a lot of options if they happen to go down to the bottom right of this particular setup. The game comes with other maps. There's another one on the other side of this, and if you have the collector's edition, there's 2 more on a double-sided mat as well. So each of them will play differently based on the map type as well, different things in different locations too. But hopefully that was a nice little taste of Dead by Daylight, the board game by Behaviour, I believe they're called, or Level 99 Games. One of them is the publisher, one of them is the creator. You can let me know in the comments whether or not you want to see more of this by casting your vote and or opinion for or against it being a regular thing on the channel, or semi-regular. Up to you, but please do share your opinion. Thank you for giving it a chance. If you did though, I appreciate it. Always happy to try and bring new stuff to the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day and see you in the future. Ta for now.